Bond. James Bond.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup! Sublime!
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Tear me apart, Lisa!
But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen That, a movie discussion podcast where we introduce our friend Ben to movies he should have seen a long time ago. I'm your host, Amanda.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ben.
And today we are talking about Twilight. And stick around until the end because we will be talking about our top 4 things that we would do if we never needed to sleep again, a la Edward Cullen and all the vampires.
The year 2008, the month November. The number 1 song in the country was Live Your Life by T.I. featuring Riri, aka Rihanna.
Hey.
I don't know the words.
In sports news, Lewis Hamilton had recently clinched his first of 7 F1 championships. And in world news, Barack Obama was named President of the United States. The movie we're talking about today, Twilight. When Bella Swan moves to a small town in the Pacific Northwest, she falls in love with Edward Cullen, a mysterious classmate who reveals himself to be a 108-year-old vampire. Despite Edward's repeated cautions, Bella can't stay away from him, a fatal move that endangers her own life. Based on the novel series by Stephanie Meyer, this movie was directed by Catherine Hardwicke and stars Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, Billy Burke, and Taylor Lautner. This movie had a $37 million budget and grossed $408 million worldwide at the box office. This movie opened number 1 in the United States, which dethroned Quantum of Solace in the James Bond franchise. And then it lost its number 1 spot the very next weekend to Four Christmases, the classic Vince Vaughn, Reese Witherspoon movie. And I use classic in quotes. This also was the most purchased DVD of 2009, per the article I found in doing my research.
This movie was peak DVD era, too.
Big time. Big time. So this movie had a differing opinions between the critics and audiences. Amongst critics, this movie had a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 56% on Metacritic. But this movie had an A- cinema score, meaning that audiences really loved what they got out of the movie experience. This movie was not nominated for any Academy Awards, but this movie was nominated for 7 MTV Movie Awards, winning 5. Best Picture, Best Movie, sorry, not Best Picture. Best Movie, Best Female Performance for Kristen Stewart, Best Breakthrough Performance Male for Robert Pattinson. Taylor Lautner was also nominated. Best Kiss, Best Fight, and it was nominated for Best Song from a Movie for Decode by Paramore. This movie was the first of 5 movies in the Twilight movie franchise.
All right. So, Ben, why don't you kick us off and tell us your history with Twilight?
All right. In fall of 2008, I was a senior in college. And then the next fall, which I believe it was the next movie come out like about a year later, I feel like.
Actually, yeah, it was pretty good in terms of its releases. 2008, 2009.
The whole friend group that I had, all the girls in the group and a few of the guys, most of the girls, were very into Twilight. So I specifically remember them all going to see it together. I think it was the second film when I was a super senior, fall of 2009. But I definitely remember lots of conversation about this film. I never had any interest in it then or since, but I know they were all very into it at the time. And I knew the whole Team Edward and Team Jacob and blah, blah, blah. So I definitely was aware of it, but didn't really know too much about the film itself.
And what about you, Geoff?
That was going to be one of my questions during the podcast, was if you were going to be Team Edward or Team Jacob. So good to know that you've got at least some idea of what we're talking about there. So good. So Twilight was a movie that I vaguely remember at least watching most of the way through once in high school. It was one of those where I remember vividly going to a friend's house and there were about 6 or 7 people and we all watched Twilight over around like a small TV, and I vaguely remembered bits and pieces from it, but nothing crazy. And then when lockdown happened in 2020, I remember Amanda kind of insisted that we watch the entire saga. So I finally got the chance to watch all of them. I had never seen all of them. I'd just seen the first. And since then, I've revisited at least one other time. The Alamo Drafthouse hosts movie parties, and one of their more popular ones is they'll do one every couple of years around all of the Twilight movies. So they'll do one for the original, for New Moon, for Eclipse, and then both the Breaking Dawn movies. And those are always fun to see with the crowd because everybody is just so into it. They know all the lines. They laugh at all the right times. They awe at all the right times. It's just a great movie viewing experience. So I don't have a long history with Twilight, but again, very, very familiar with everything with the franchise.
Right. And I very familiar with the franchise. I read the books when they initially came out. I don't know what year that was, but I read all of them. I loved the books. I was obsessed with the books to that teenage girl level of obsession. So I was very, very excited when this movie came out, and I definitely went to the opening showing of it because in 2008 I was a junior in high school. So there you go.
The perfect age range for it.
Yeah, I was definitely the target audience for this. Ben, let's hear your rating.
This was as bad as I worried it was going to be. I hated it. I didn't even like it in like a love to hate it way. I'm giving it a 0.5, the lowest score I've given any movie in the 2 seasons.
Oh,
It is lower than Cats and lower than 8 Crazy Nights for me.
Oh, man. Oh.
I find that's insane. I think it's
Hated
insane
it.
that this
Hated
is
it
lower than Cats.
so much. Cats, at least I like had fun. I didn't have fun watching this.
No.
Geoff,
Oh,
what's your
no.
score?
So I know I've said this to Amanda, I think a couple of times after seeing Twilight every time, but I like the idea of Twilight and the concept around the story of Twilight and the idea of vampires and love and integrating inside a community like this, especially as the franchise develops. But the execution is obviously not great. Not great. I do have fun with this movie, though. It's not a cinematic achievement by any stretch, but I do have fun with this. I'm going to go with let's go with a 2.25.
All right. And for me, this is so this is my favorite movie out of all the Twilight movies.
Very important context there. I was waiting for a nice long pause after that.
So I give this one a 3 because they certainly do get worse.
Yikes.
Well, and that is very much just a personal perspective. Some people.
Oh, I wasn't yikesing your score. I was yikesing that they get worse.
Oh,
I
yes.
know, and I'm saying like some people don't think that they get worse, right? Like the second movie is the one that I hate the most, but it was also the book I hated the most. So I'm sure if you liked that book, if you enjoy that storyline, you probably like that movie more. But yeah, this is by far my favorite. So it's a 3 for me.
Because all of the rest have to fill in gaps between 1 and 3 at some point.
I would like to get into why I hated this movie, but I real quick have to pick a bone with Amanda. So, for those of you who are listening at home, Amanda's wanted to do Twilight for a while, and she wanted specifically to do it in the fall. And to the point that Twilight is not available on streaming as of this recording. And Amanda Venmoed my wife $4, so I would be willing to rent the movie on Amazon, which I did. So I can be paid off. But but and I'd be willing to rent a movie that I wanted to see, but I didn't want to see this one. So I took her up on the offer to pay for my rental. My bone to pick is I don't think it's a fall movie.
I forgot that.
Ben.
I know it came out in the fall, but it's set in the spring.
It's set in March.
And it looks spring and feels spring with that rainy, cold, dreary Pacific Northwest stuff. That is spring all day. There are no colors on the leaves on the trees.
No. That
It is
blue,
a spring,
blue overlay.
dreary, rainy spring movie that leads up to prom.
No.
And it is not a fall movie. And I was like, what's this girl talking about?
Ben, I'm going to tell you right now, the entirety of the internet disagrees with you.
No, listen, I know it came out in like the fall, but that's the only thing it has to do with that and vampires, I guess, or fall because of Halloween. But
no, that blue tint that they use for the filming, it just screams fall. It does.
No,
it
that blue
does.
tint is spring. That blue
No,
tint
no,
is
no.
spring.
That is absolutely not.
Fall is like a warm autumn glow. Blue tint
It
is
can
dreary
be.
spring, rainy weather.
No. Look, fall can be a warm autumn glow, but it can also be the twilight blue hue. And there are 1,000,002 memes out there when September comes around, when the end of August comes around, and people start talking about fall and Halloween. There are so many memes that come around about how it's Twilight season.
I mean, if memes say it, then it must be true.
It means that the internet agrees with me. That's what it means. I stand by it. It's a fall movie.
Didn't feel that way at all to me. I was like, when it started, I was like, okay, maybe it's going to jump to the next school year. And then it just stayed right in the spring. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of timing and speaking of bones to pick, I have a bone to pick with the timing of this movie, which is hilarious. So she says when she first moves to Forks that it is March. And I was like, okay, in my mind, I'm like, I know that this movie ends with prom. So therefore, prom is probably in May. And I'm like, that's wild that the entire events of this book happen between March and May. That's a very short period of time. And really, I mean, the point between when she like meets Edward and when they like fall in love is really like 2 weeks, like 2.5 weeks. I don't know. It's not a very long time at all. But then, hold on here. At one point, I think Mike says that prom is in like a month, which means that their prom is in April and not May, which makes this an even more condensed timeline of only 2 months. Then this movie takes place in March and April, and that is it. And then where my bone to pick comes in is I think at one point, maybe, I can't remember who said it, Bella maybe, she was like, these past couple of months of knowing you. And I was like, hold on. No, you have not known him for a couple of months. You moved here in March. The movie ends in April or May. You have not known him for a couple months. This is not adding up. That's my bone to pick.
And there's probably spring break in there too.
Right?
I mean, honestly, like the entire series, I think takes place over a year and some change.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Maybe not like I think in the last book there's like more of like a time gap, but like the main chunk of events that happens between all the books is really this last end of her junior year and then her senior year of high school and then like a little bit after that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's not a very long time to
Do
feel like
other
you found your
movies
forever love.
specifically take place in the fall?
No.
Other movies, other books?
Actually, no. It's funny because I think the one stretch where they actually cross into fall, which is New Moon, they breeze through it like that.
So
Sorry,
the next like
Well, I think that movie
3,
starts in
4
the
are
fall.
all like within like 6 months.
I think so.
Yes.
It's
Okay, because you're never gonna watch them. I was really hoping you would like it enough or find it funny enough to watch the other ones. But since you won't, I will tell you what happens.
Spoiler alert for anybody who might want to watch.
So in the second movie, it starts off with it's Bella's birthday, which I could look up when that is. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's in the fall or maybe late summer. It's Bella's birthday. She goes over to the Cullens house for a birthday party. She is opening a present and gets a paper cut on her finger and starts bleeding. And
September
Jasper,
13th is Bella's birthday.
Thanks,
September
Ben.
13th. Perfect. So Jasper loses his ever loving mind when she gets a paper cut.
Who always looks like he's in pain. So that just makes sense.
Well, also it's like just a minuscule amount of blood. Or no, it's not a minuscule. It's bleeding a lot, and it's just a stupid paper cut. Anyways,
minuscule event for a lot of blood.
Yes, Jasper loses his ever loving mind and like tries to attack her and the whole family. It's just like calamity. And then Edward is very dramatic and is like, I can't be with you, Bella, because I only bring like hurt and pain, and someone in my family is going to kill you on accident, and I could never live with myself. So he just abandons her. He leaves her. And then, literally, like in the book, it's like October, November, December. Like, just, that's all it says on the pages. And they did it in the movie too. Anyways, he goes to Italy to have the vampires of like the Volturi, which are like the vampires in charge of everybody. He goes to them to ask them to kill him so that so that he can't hurt Bella. He becomes suicidal. They will not kill him because they think his mind reading ability is super cool and would be really useful to them. Because, spoiler alert, the Volturi are bad guys. Anyways, so they refuse to kill him. So he's like, I'm going to go out into the public square. And it's like this, I don't know, some sort of Italian holiday or something. I don't know. And he's like, and I'm going to reveal my shiny body to the masses. And then they'll have to kill me, right? Because I have revealed that I'm a vampire. Anyways, Bella gets to Italy, stops him just in time. Backing up, this is why I hate the second movie. She spends way too much time with Jacob. This is where Jacob makes his transformation into a wolf. So you get a lot more of that lore. This is where a lot more of the Team Jacob people come in, which is just.
I was going to say, Jacob is like not really much in this movie.
No, because he's not a werewolf yet. He has to do his transformation. And he becomes hot when he transforms into the werewolf. So, anyways, Bella tries repeatedly in this movie to kill herself, basically. She's not really trying to kill herself, but she notices that every time she gets in a near-death experience, she like sees a vision of Edward appear and he's like talking to her like, Bella, stop it. What are you doing? So she like drives a motorcycle really fast and like crashes it, and she like jumps off a cliff, and I think she tries to like get in the same type of situation downtown with some bad guys. Like, I don't know, I don't remember, but that's like basically the second one. So yeah, so they she saves him from exposing himself, but then the Volturi are like, you guys are just hanging out with a human. Like, okay, she needs to be a vampire or you guys need to kill her. And she was like, yes, love it. I have been begging him to make me a vampire, so thank you. And then Edward's like, no, because he really doesn't want her to be a vampire. He doesn't want her to lose her soul. So they make an agreement that they'll do it after graduation, which will be in just a few months.
Yeah, I guess you can pack a lot in when you don't sleep.
Yeah.
A lot into a few months.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I won't even get into like all the other ones, but you know,
that's fine.
There's stuff. Essentially, Victoria comes back and is trying to seek vengeance for them killing James. Is like a big plot point going forward until they kill her.
Okay, before I tell you why I really hated this movie, like, why do you sort of be okay with this?
Why am I sort of okay with it?
Yeah, I didn't say that well, but
I also gave it a 2.25.
Yeah, I'm kind of talking to both of you. Like,
right.
Because I don't think either of you think it's like good cinema.
No.
Or like well done. So like, what is it? The nostalgia factor? Is it like what makes it like kind of a love to hate kind of campy liking to you?
Because it is just so goofy. Like, you know, it is part nostalgia, obviously, right? Like, I did genuinely love the books when they were out, and I'm sure I really liked these movies when they first came out too. Um, and obviously, like you said, I understand that this is not a good movie, and I love laughing at their faces, like their faces that they make all
The
the time,
quotes.
the weird sounds and breathing that they do like all the time, the quotes, like it's not good, but it is just so fun, I think. And there's also like a huge Twilight community online that like love to hate this movie in a fun way. Like we hate it, but we like it. It's
And I think
weird.
a lot of those people probably truly liked it at one point.
Right.
Right. Exactly. But now it's just in the like we make fun of it, but and like Jeff and I have gone to see these movies like in theaters when they re-release them, like the local Alamo will have rowdy showings where you can like hoot and holler and everything. So that like those are
Sounds
so
like my
fun to go
nightmare.
to. Like Charlie walks on screen and everyone's like, "Yeah, Charlie." Because he's hot. He's like the daddy. Everyone loves him. Him and Carlisle daddy. So
Oh
there's like
no.
this whole, it's almost like a whole lore. But last week when we were recording, and you said, Amanda, I don't know if you genuinely like these movies or if you love to hate them. We got off and I was like, I actually don't know how to answer that question. I was like, I don't know myself. Anyways, Jeff, say how you feel.
Yeah, I think for this, I never read the books. And as I kind of hinted at, I'd only seen the first one once, shortly after it came out, and never saw any of the sequels. I think for me, it's a throwback to an era like when I was in high school and people that I knew in high school dressed the exact same way that they do in this movie. And it's a combination of, yeah, the fun and the ridiculous. And again, I'm team, I like the concept. I think the idea of like the vampires and werewolves having their own little battle in the middle of this sort of human world, I think is genuinely interesting. And I think could be captured well. And I'm sure it was captured well in the novels. Again, I have not read them. It's just very hilariously depicted on screen. And I would be lying if I didn't say that a little bit of it too is Amanda's appreciation of it. I definitely think that it is made more fun in that way as well, where as Amanda's like saying different lines and saying like, it is silly in anticipation of things. It gives you a chance to laugh. And I know these movies kind of come from the right place as well. Yeah, I don't know. I always have fun watching these movies. It's weird.
My my number one complaint about this, two words. Can you guess what those words are?
Bad wigs.
Nope. Kristen Stewart.
Uh
Truly like the worst performance I've seen in a single movie we've watched on this podcast. Like literally no reaction to anything. Literally and it's not just like the brooding teen kind of thing or whatever, like it is literally no reaction. It is literally blank face. It's like she might as well have been, it might have been like starring Robert Pattinson and Brick Wall. Like she is horrifically bad at this. And Robert Pattinson, I don't think is that much better, but he is better. And like, I mean, like she almost gets hit by a car. Nothing. She falls in love with her. Nothing. Like it is just there is no expression on her face in this entire film. And I
Yep.
think that's mostly her fault, probably some directing fault. Just terrible.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the big joke for years. Like, I think
Right.
she probably really struggled a lot, like not to get work.
She
I mean,
should have never
obviously,
worked again.
obviously she was like in these movies for a while, so she didn't have to worry about it. But I mean, I would imagine she probably got a lot of flack for that
oh, for sure.
in the industry as a whole.
Deservedly. I think sometimes like there can be piling on and stuff, but like this is like as bad as advertised. Because I remember hearing like that she was bad in these movies, but
Mhm.
like I was like, this is truly one of the worst acting performances I've ever seen.
Yeah. And I think, kind of like you said, I think it's partially her fault, partially directing. The character Bella in the books, from what I recall, is written, she's very clumsy, she's very shy, not to say that she's not expressive, but obviously that's kind of how they interpreted it. But yes, I mean, I cannot stand all of her like constant like lip biting and like looking around and being like, like, I'm like, what are you doing? Which is why, if anyone listening to this wants to watch anything really funny, watch the movie Vampires Suck, which is
Yes.
a parody of this first movie. It is hilarious.
Maybe we could do that next Halloween.
There you go. It's so funny. It's so spot on with like everything that they make fun of in this movie.
I remember actually, fun fact, I saw Vampires Suck in theaters without actually seeing Twilight and or barely remembering Twilight and thinking it was the worst experience. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And we rewatched Vampires Suck somewhat recently, and I was like, I was looking around, I'm like, is this movie actually like good? What?
It's not, but
It's not. No.
I've never seen her in anything aside from I think she hosted SNL or something like that. But have you seen her in anything good?
Yes.
Have you
So,
seen her be good in anything? I guess I should say is more the question.
yeah,
definitely.
she like genuinely is a good actress.
That's wild to me.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic. So
Maybe I need to watch something where she can just to get that taste, get the Twilight
doesn't-
taste out of my mouth with her.
She does a lot more like indie stuff now, or like smaller projects, I feel like. Or at least she did like immediately after Twilight.
yes,
Yeah.
she after doing Twilight and getting that sort of residual money, which again, good for her. She did Snow White and the Huntsman again to get some residual money. But then she's paired up with like really fun and or really, I shouldn't say fun, but interesting directors like Olivier Assayas, who's a notable French director. She did 2 movies with him. She did the movie American Ultra with Jesse Eisenberg, which was a fun, kind of exciting stoner comedy. She's done movies with Kelly Reichardt. She got nominated for an Academy Award playing Princess Diana in the movie Spencer, which is
Oh, that's right.
quite good. She is very
Jeez.
good in that movie, and
Oh.
that movie was one of my favorites of that year. Which again, that spoiler alerts for my movie recommendations at the end of this podcast, but. She was just in a great movie last year called Love Lies Bleeding, which was an A24 movie where, again, really, really great performance. So,
Well, good. I'm happy that she has learned how to act since 2008.
oh, yes.
When she was
Maybe then the director deserves more of the blame than I was originally willing to assign.
No, I think I think it was a combination of
both.
the age.
It's both.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. It's the way the character was written, slightly the direction being like, don't even like you can tell this movie's kind of made on a budget too.
Oh yeah.
With like
Yeah.
the effects and everything, but I think that the way that it's part the script and the story, part maybe slightly directing, part her. I think it's a multiple factors put into it. I won't lay the blame exclusively on her per se because she's ended up putting out incredible work since.
Yeah, I remember when she was in Spencer as Princess Diana, and I was like, I think this is maybe the first time I've ever seen Kristen Stewart smile. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Ben, I have a question for you.
Yes.
No. Okay. What were your thoughts? How did it feel when it would like make these like, very random cuts to like people being chased down or like dying?
I mean, I just kind of I don't know. I like like Jeff said it just the whole movie to me felt kind of cheap and kind of on a budget. And I feel like even just things like editing and storytelling felt like I don't know. So it didn't feel like I wasn't like, what the heck is going on? I was just
Okay.
like, oh, this is vampire world, I guess. It's gonna tie in somehow.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wonder if this feels really jarring to just be like all of a sudden you're like running through a forest or you're like on a boat dock and like just with these very random scenes.
I will say I didn't put together right away that the doctor was the dad,
Okay.
even though I know they mentioned earlier that the dad was a doctor.
Hmm.
But then she like went to the hospital and the doctor came in. And I was like, why is everybody so pale? Like, and I was like, oh wait, this is another one. This is another Cullen.
Can we just talk about for 1 second the atrocious amount of makeup they did put on them?
Oh yeah,
In
it's
like
terrible looking.
the first quarter of the movie, and then they just like gave up. They have like a little bit of makeup on them, but in that first scene with Edward and Bella in the classroom, he is wearing so much lipstick. And his face is so white. I'm
Yeah.
like, I know what you guys were going for, but it just didn't work.
I will tell you, I totally forgot Anna Kendrick was in this movie.
Yes.
I
I
made a
love Anna
comment about
Kendrick.
that.
I love Anna Kendrick. She's one of my faves. Not here, but I mean, maybe one of my faves in this movie, I guess. But I was like, Anna, girl, come on.
What you doing?
What you doing, Anna?
There's a lot of big people in this franchise,
Yeah.
especially as you get moving on.
Yeah, Dakota Fanning shows up. Laurent is played by Eddie Gathegi, who people who
Oh
have been to
yeah.
the movies recently,
Yeah, he's
Mr. Terrific and Superman.
Oh.
Rami Malek is in the last one in Twilight in Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Rami Malek seems like a Twilight guy.
He's an Egyptian vampire. Lee
Yeah,
Pace.
Who plays the head Volturi guy? That's like a well-known actor.
I do not know off the top of my head.
And then Victoria gets recast, I
Oh,
think, in the third movie, and she's played by Bryce Dallas Howard from
okay.
that point on.
And she's played by Meryl Streep.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be very funny.
That's like what's her face showing up in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Oh yeah, Helen Mirren.
That would be the same level of like
Yep.
Yeah, Gil Birmingham is Billy in the early stage here in this movie. It's played by Michael Sheen. Yeah, Michael Sheen.
Oh yeah, yes, that's right.
Okay. I was like, it's a guy, a well-known guy.
Yeah, he's in well, he was in that show Prodigal Son. That's what I know him from.
Mm-hmm.
Good old what?
Jackson Rathbone is Jasper, who was my lowest rated actor on Letterboxd for a while because he's in the Twilight movies and plays a featured role in M. Night Shyamalan's adaptation of The Last Airbender, which is tragic.
Yeah, that movie is
So bad.
Ben, how did you feel about the sparkly skin?
This
I
is the skin of
mean-
a killer.
It was the only time we got away from the blue tinted world. I feel like.
I was actually reading that the baseball scene took
Oh, yeah.
them so long to film, like a week and a half. It was supposed to take like 2 days, and it took them a week and a half because they had like the weather had to cooperate because it was
Oh,
all
yeah.
outside. So it had to be the same consistent like grayness. It couldn't be raining, it couldn't be sunny. And because they had such a limited budget, literally the times that they show Edward with his skin sparkling, I think they said those were like one of the few, if not only times that they used CGI in this movie, and they couldn't afford it. So they were like, there's no sun in this movie because we cannot afford to have them sparkle all the time.
No.
It's amazing.
Love
Is the baseball scene? I feel like the baseball scene has to be like
iconic.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So
I
good.
kind of got that sense.
Yep.
So good. Alice's leg being like, woo, every time she throws the ball, the thunder, what black hole supernova, what is it called?
Supermassive black hole.
Massive black hole by
Muse.
Muse playing. Stephanie Meyer loves Muse. She wanted them to do the soundtrack,
Oh,
but the timing didn't line up.
I will say the funny bit is when who's her face? Is it Rosalie or Esme who bats first and gets tagged out at home?
Oh, Rosalie. Yeah.
Rosalie. So it's hilarious how mad Rosalie gets at Bella after Bella calls her out. I'm like, stop arguing, girl. She made the right call. Stop it.
Yeah. Anytime Edward or any of the vampires run, it never gets old. It's so funny. It's so hilarious.
I don't know which is more funny though, them running whenever they're like going super fast, or right during the baseball scene, right before the baseball scene, when we look at the other three vampires traveling into town, they're like gliding in. They're like, it looks like they're like walking on a moving treadmill as they're like sliding into the screen.
They are. I saw they put like a big, like clear, I don't know if it's glass or plexiglass, whatever thing on the ground, and they pulled it so that they could walk on it. So it looked like they were gliding, but also walking. But I do love that.
Charlie must have been so sad when Bella was talking about how she was gonna go play baseball with the Cullens. He's like, I'm like the biggest Mariners fan you know. What are you doing?
He's like, I like baseball.
What are you doing? Also, a lot of baseball in this movie. Bella's mom dating a minor league baseball player who you see in the batting cages and doesn't look like he's really that good. To them playing baseball in this, to them watching the Mariners, like a lot of baseball love in this movie.
Maybe another thing Stephanie Meyer loves.
Maybe. Y'all, I wanted a Volvo so bad when I originally read this book series because that is specifically what Edward drives. They talk about it a lot in the book. And I was like, man, when I grow up, I'm going to have a Volvo. It is like the sexiest car that has ever existed. So every time I see a sick Volvo in the movie, I'm like, yeah, look at it. I don't have one for all you listeners out there.
Didn't grow up to have the sexiest car.
No, sure didn't. But I also didn't grow up to fall in love with a vampire. So
No.
not all of our childhood dreams come true.
Amanda, have you revisited the books?
I haven't in a long time. I keep saying that I should, but
No.
I just haven't. I'm a little afraid at this point. I'm like,
Yeah, sometimes things are better left in your memory.
yeah, like I'm like, how bad is it gonna be? So I will say we did watch this on DVD, and there were some trailers,
Oh,
which we didn't get any last time we watched whatever we watched on VHS.
We watched American Pie. That was when we watched American Pie on
yeah.
VHS.
So we got a trailer for 3 movies that I've never seen: Band Slam, Astro Boy, and Push.
wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of Astro Boy. I don't think I've heard of the other two.
Yeah, I'd heard of Astro Boy. I had not heard of the other two. The first one, Band Slam, features was it Allie from Allie and AJ or just AJ?
Yeah.
It was Allie and
Allie
and Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We
then,
thought it was Camp Rock at first. We're like, is this Camp Rock? I don't know.
Classic 2008, 2009 people.
right? And then and then Push stars Chris Evans and Dakota Fanning and Jaimin Hansu.
Yeah.
This movie I feel like does it makes me think of college, when a lot of my friends are into it. And I feel like back in those days, you had Harry Potter still going strong. You had these just these obsessive fandoms, and I feel like there's still fandoms, but have we gotten something more recently that I feel like fits into that is that huge of a fandom? I feel like what's the last major fandom that came out?
No, I mean, Hunger Games was around the same time.
Yeah, I feel like
That
all
was
those were
another-
in the 2005 to 2015 stretch,
Yeah.
basically.
Mhm.
For sure.
I mean,
don't think-
even Marvel's peak existence too.
Yeah, that's true. Did you mean based off a book or just a huge fan?
I just meant in general. I mean, I think a lot of them were the books to movies thing.
I mean, Fast and Furious is still going strong.
Yeah, but I just think I can't think of something that's started in the last 10 years that has that kind of obsession.
No, me either.
And you can think of, you mentioned, Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Twilight, right there. That's 3 that are just
Yeah. Plus there was those I never watched them. What they were based on a book, not Division, Divide, no. Divergent, the Divergent series.
Virgin movies, yep.
Those weren't quite as big, but I know
No.
they were based on books and people really liked those too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know how it's boomers can't give up power nationally with holding on to office, and that's why we've had these presidents for years that are just boomers for decades, and then and they just they're just skipping over Gen X, and now millennials are being hey, don't skip over us too, because they've just held on to power for so long. I feel like millennials have done that with pop culture.
Oh, yes.
We have dominated the pop culture conversation for maybe longer than we should.
We'll never let go.
That's all we've got.
Panic.
Maybe if we get national power, we can give up the pop culture power.
No, then we'll just be politicians with pop culture references. dated pop culture reference.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, they also played Linkin Park in the credits, which was incredible. I was like, I don't think I've watched the credits since
Yeah, when I was
first
watching this,
saw it.
at first I thought I was like, "Are these outtakes?" I'm like, "What is happening here?" And then I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Not, they're not really outtakes. They're just like
They're just
clips."
showing little clips of the
Yeah.
actors. But then after that, when the actual credits start, is when Linkin Park started playing, and I was like, "What? Excuse me? Do I love this movie even more?"
I don't think I waited long enough to hear Linkin Park. I think once the Amazon like rate this movie thing came up, I was like, "Okay, we're done."
Like, I will not spend another second. I did just want to list off, I wrote down every single iconic line that I have seen referenced multiple
Yeah.
times in
I wrote down a
memes.
few that I thought were ridiculous. So
Okay,
I'm
good. I'm
curious
glad
if
we're
some of
getting
them
to
are in
this
here.
part. I'm glad we're getting
Oh,
to this
okay,
part.
wait. I want to hear your ridiculous lines.
No, well,
Let's hear
I
it.
just wrote, there were a few that I just was like, rolled my eyes at. One of them was, aren't people from Arizona like really tan? And she says, yeah, maybe that's why they kicked me out. Another one was when they said, you're Isabella, and she said, just Bella. It's like, okay. All right.
Okay.
And what was the other one I was gonna say? Oh, and then the vegetarian vampires conversation.
I mean, so much in the script is just like, just not good lines.
Mm-mm.
We were laughing a lot when they go to La Push Baby. And the one guy's talking about is he talking about the werewolves or the pale? I don't know. The one friend is talking about werewolves to the group, like not saying it as an aside or whatever. And then Bella and Jacob are on the beach and he's, oh, you caught that, huh?
Oh,
And it's
yes.
like-
I wrote yes. So I wrote that down. I couldn't remember the context of it. The Cullens don't come here. You caught that, huh? I wrote
yeah.
that down. I wrote that down, but I couldn't remember the context, so I didn't say it.
Yeah, because he like literally said it to the group. It's not like, she was like overhearing another conversation or whatever. And it's like, yeah, she
That
caught that. Like,
whenever things like that happen, I always think of a Friends moment where where I don't even remember what the exact context is, but one of them is like, oh, I heard that, and I think it's Rachel, and she's like, well, I said it loud.
that's exactly it. It's like, yeah, I was sitting right there paying attention. Dumb.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because I'd written it down. I wasn't going to bring it up because I couldn't remember the context.
All right, so here's the lines I wrote down. How you liking the rain, girl? Which was some random kid to Bella. I don't know.
What was that? It wasn't Mike. It was.
I think it was one of the other friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. Edward's saying it's the fluorescence. When she's like, your eyes changed colors, and he's trying to come up with an excuse. It's the fluorescence. When they were at the greenhouse or whatever, and one of the kid goes, Bella, look, it's a worm. Just has a worm on a stick. La push, baby. Going to the beach. Say it out loud. Classic. This is the skin of a killer Bella, also known as tit soak on the internet communities. As if you could outrun me, which is what Edward says to Bella.
Classic vampire line.
Yes. You're like my own personal brand of heroin. Another Edward to Bella line. So the lion fell in love with the lamb. What a dumb lamb. What a sick, masochistic lion. The number of tattoos I've seen online that quote, so the lion fell in love with the lamb, is otherworldly. Next level.
Yikes.
So many. Bella's whole thing where she says, about 3 things I was absolutely positive. The first is, I didn't write it all down, but Edward's a vampire. He thirsts for my blood, and I am in love with him. Edward to Bella, you better hold on tight, spider monkey.
Classic.
Yes, that's
and
right.
then Bella being super emo at the end, saying, death is peaceful, easy. Life is harder.
She's so emo.
Can you imagine if this had come out when you were like in ninth grade or eighth grade, Amanda?
I'm like, yes. Yes, that almost matches that line from my diary. Oh, it was made for me.
So for me, besides the quotes, the biggest thing are just the awkward moments. When you talked about the makeup in the biology room, there's an amazing 10 to 15 minute stretch when we first get introduced to the Cullens and then slowly get rolled out. They're all sitting in the cafeteria and everybody's coming in. And as the vampires come in, Emmett's walking in with like 12 eggs in a bag.
He just has a plastic bag full of eggs.
This is followed by the family being described to Bella and then ending with Jasper saying, who's always, quote, looks like he's in pain. And which is cutting to his face, just being all like weird looking, to then going to the biology class and Edward awkwardly covering his nose as Bella walks into the room and just writing, ew, Bella's stinky, ew. To then lastly going to the cafe when she orders a burger. And if you watch very closely, her trying to apply ketchup to the burger, she is quite literally like holding the ketchup bottle and like going like this and nothing is coming out. She's like shaking it and it's
very lightly shaking it. Like there's a lot of very niche memes.
Yeah. Like at one point,
People
Edward
have watched every frame of this too many times.
Like at one point, Edward is just so confrontational towards Bella about her being clumsy. Like as they're walking through, I think it was like the greenhouse or whatever, like he gets mad at her for tripping on something. I'm like, dude, calm down. What else? Oh, the biggest issue I had is or not one of the biggest issues, just his room. I get he doesn't sleep or whatever, but like we walk into this room, it's raining outside. The door looking outside or his open windows or whatever, there's no balcony, but yet it's just wide open, just like, hey, you could just fall out. I know he can like leap out or whatever, but like it's pouring rain and you've got classic literature and records there. Like, close the door. Hello? Just common sense. I know you're vampires and think differently, but yeah, there's just so much to this movie that it's hilarious.
Yeah, their house is gorgeous though.
Yeah, they got a nice house. Too many stairs. A lot of stairs though.
I don't know. You can't really go visit that house. The people that own it have like put out signs that are like,
oh, I'm sure.
Do not come in this driveway.
I'm sure.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have bought the Twilight house, man. If you didn't want
They
people
probably thought it wasn't going to be a big deal. Well, I guess it depends on when they bought it.
I think it's had new owners somewhat recently-ish.
Yeah.
But the other people probably moved because they were sick of it.
That's fair.
The town of Forks is very pro Twilight. Very pro Twilight. All right. Well, do either of you have anything before we move into our recommendations?
One thing or two things on my end. One, the driving from Forks to Phoenix to lead James away, that's a 24-hour drive. So shout out to not sleeping.
Yeah.
That is
everything out west is very far away from each other.
Very far away. And then the second thing is just a reminder. I think I brought it up with the Oppenheimer episode, but Twilight led to the cancellation of Ellen DeGeneres. Fun fact.
Do the timeline.
So I'll be very quick. Someone summarized it very nicely on an internet thread. The lead singer of My Chemical Romance, Gerard Way, witnessed 9/11 firsthand and says it changed his perspective on life, eventually leading to him starting the band. This band was loved, obviously, by many, many people, including Stephenie Meyer, who wrote Twilight because she was inspired by kind of the moodiness of MCR or whatever. So she wrote Twilight. A lot of different things fall out from Twilight, such as fan fictions and novels and whatever. One such fan fiction is the 50 Shades of Grey novel series. Those books end up turning into movies, like Twilight was, which starred Dakota Johnson, and which jumpstarted her career. Dakota Johnson later appeared on The Ellen Show, in which Ellen DeGeneres tried to put Dakota on the spot for not inviting her to her birthday party. Dakota replied that she did in fact invite her and was rudely ignored despite being pressured into inviting her in the first place. This started a chain reaction of other celebrities and people in the industry telling their stories of how Ellen is a rude person. And later, everything else that happened around her. So you can say that Twilight caused the downfall of Ellen DeGeneres' TV career.
Yay.
There you go.
And
Twilight
also,
did something good.
you're right. And also, Twilight led to Oppenheimer because Twilight featured Robert Pattinson, goes on to have a successful career after Twilight, such as starring in Christopher Nolan movies, such as Tenet. And then after filming Tenet, he gave Christopher Nolan a copy of the book American Prometheus, which is about the life of J. Robert Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan decided to make the movie about that book, and here we are today. Christopher Nolan finally gets his Best Director, and Oppenheimer wins Best Picture. So, thanks, Stephanie Meyer.
And Robert Pattinson was cast in Twilight because he was in Harry Potter.
Oh,
So,
yes.
Yay, Harry Potter.
Yay, Harry Potter.
It all connects.
All right. Ben, give us your TV recommendations.
All right. I think probably I have not watched the show. I think probably the show that is most associated with Twilight and from that same era is The Vampire Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
I've not watched it, so I can't speak to it. I imagine it's got some similar appeal and probably some similar production value.
Probably.
So, I've got two recommendations. One is the only vampire fiction I ever have enjoyed, which is What We Do in the Shadows, of course.
I'm right today.
I have never ever been into vampire stuff. This What We Do in the Shadows is the exception. So if you're sitting here listening and thinking, I don't care about vampire things, give it a try because it's really funny. And I know Jeff and Amanda love the show as well. The other one is something we actually just talked about recently, which is definitely, once I watched Twilight, I was like, this is the same thing, which is The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yes.
I searched it, and there are like Reddit threads. It's like, this is basically Twilight, right? And it's even Belly is the main character in
Oh my
Summer I
gosh.
Turned Pretty. And then you've got the brooding Conrad, and then you've got the other one, Jeremiah. Like it takes place in Cousins, which is a weird little town beach name, like Forks. And so I think there's a lot of similarities. And Conrad is just as brooding as Edward. Belly is a better actress than Bella, but like as soon as I put it together in my head and then searched it, I was like, I cannot be the only person who has thought this. And I searched it, and there is a lot of conversation on the internet about how The Summer I Turned Pretty is Twilight without vampires.
Of course. That's amazing.
So, there we go.
Love it. Jeff, what are your movie recommendations?
All right. So, first one, vampires. I was trying to think of a good one that was kind of, I don't want to say newer because I didn't end up picking like a quote unquote new movie. I went with the movie Near Dark, which is directed by Catherine Bigelow, one of her first movies, and it tells the story about kind of vampires on the road trying to survive, and as they go through human communities, and it's very kind of a rock and roll sort of aesthetic to everybody. It's a very good movie. I've seen it. I've very much enjoyed it. So very early on in her career, for those who don't know, Catherine Bigelow, her most famous movie is Point Break, and she's got a new movie coming out this year called The House of Dynamite, which will be not out by the time we see it. Maybe like a month or so after this movie or this
I've heard good things though from the festivals.
As have I. So Near Dark is the first one. The second one is a movie based on a novel that features love between something other than human, and that would be Warm Bodies, starring Nicholas Hoult as a zombie who falls in love with the girlfriend of one of his victims. So if you were looking for kind of that, I don't want to say I don't want to say creepy romance because that's could be interpreted a number of different ways, but romances between humans and not humans, that's a good avenue to explore. And then the third one is tied into a little bit earlier with our conversation. I'm going to do a double header sort of thing. And it's movies starring Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson because they do need some redemption after this movie. So for Kristen Stewart, watch Spencer, which she was nominated for an Academy Award for and is extraordinary as Princess Diana. And for Robert Pattinson, watch Mickey 17, which came out earlier this year, where unlike the Twilight movies, he's very expressive, very animated, and has to do multiple personalities on screen, and is a very fun movie. So those are my movie recommendations.
Great. Thank you. All right, let's move into our top four. So, in the movie Twilight, it's expressed that vampires do not sleep, which is actually different from some other vampire lore. But so they don't sleep in Twilight, and Edward has a lot of time to do a lot of different things because he doesn't ever have to sleep. One of those things being watch Bella sleep. He loves to watch Bella sleep. Which is an interesting use of your time. But I guess when you've been alive for 108 years, you got to switch things up. So we thought it would be fun to come up with a list of top four things that we would do if we never needed to sleep again and had all the time, all the day to do whatever we wanted, all the night. Ben, why don't you go first?
Okay. So I was just basically trying to think of like, what are some things I wish I had more time for? I'm very busy between job and parenting a 2-year-old and directing musicals and doing the podcast and and catching up with all my TV. So what would I do if I had just much more time? Because I actually don't sleep a ton as is. But if I had, another 6 to 7 hours a day, what would I do? Number four, I think I'd probably mess with my friends at night. Like I would just spook them and just like, if I just really had all night every night I would mess around with them. I would, do crazy things. Because if I could just like hide under a bed and scare, Jacob or Nathan, our friends, in the middle of the night, I think it'd be worth it.
If right you were as fast as a vampire, you could come down here and mess with us.
That's right. Exactly.
I was about to say, your list is already more fun than mine, and you've only gone through your first one. Nice.
Well, the rest are not as interesting. So that's number four. Number three, I think I would try to take up a new athletic hobby or get better at an athletic hobby. I mean, I don't know if I'd play baseball in the storms, but I would maybe try it. Okay, so one thing's like since my son was born, I don't ever play tennis anymore, and it's just like something because it's like I'm already away for a lot of other things that I don't want to also then be going away for, things. But I really miss playing, so something like that or racquetball I used to be really into. So either I'd get back into something like that, or maybe I'd learn something new. Maybe I'd really perfect my golf skills for finally in my life. Number two, another thing that has really fallen by the wayside since my son was born, and that's reading. And part of the problem is that every time I read, I fall asleep. So if I knew I didn't have to sleep, because like I do read before I go to bed, but I almost always fall asleep almost right away because I'm so tired by that point. And then before my son was born, I would do like I'd read on the back porch on a summer day or something like that. I don't really do that anymore. So I think I would try to get that hobby back up and running. But the real number one answer is I would watch more TV and movies. So there's not enough time as is for all the TV and movies I want to watch. So give me 6 to 7 more hours a day, and that's probably how I'd feel most of that time.
There you go. Good luck.
Especially if, everybody around me is sleeping. What else am I going to do besides mess with them?
Yeah, I was going to say answers could be wildly different based on whether all the people in your life are also vampires.
True. I guess I was picturing that everybody else is doing the normal schedule and I am awake more.
Yeah.
Because obviously I would spend more time with family and friends if they were all up more. But if they're sleeping,
you got
I got to entertain myself.
Yeah. All right, Geoff, let's hear your list.
Yeah. So much like what Ben said, I'm just going to assume everybody else in my life that I'm close to can't stay up every hour of every day. So we're just going to assume that right off the bat. My number four is also I would watch more movies. And because nighttime, much like you, Ben.
You don't watch enough, Geoff.
I don't watch enough. But no, much like you, Ben, I don't sleep a lot. But nighttime is my movie time. Like after Amanda goes to bed and it's like 10:30 and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and sneak something in before I go to bed. And I have found, especially as of late, I get more and more tired at the end of the day. I'm just more burnt out, more beat out. And I want to watch. There's so many things I want to watch and I want to explore. I'm like, man, I don't have enough time to do that. And this way, it would give me not only the time to watch the movies, but also give me the time to process them and sit with them and think about it and how would I grow and explore my life and whatever. So it would give me more time to do those sort of things. And yes, also watch more TV, which would be great. because that is actually something I don't watch enough of and probably should, because I'm like, oh, I'd rather watch a movie than check out this TV show. But alas. Number 3 is read more and actually commit to like, okay, I'm going to read this book tonight or read that book tonight and give myself, hey, I've got a long list of books that I want to try to read. Why not? So I feel like it's always good to read. Reading is important. Number 2 is just explore where I live. I am someone who I love checking out areas and understanding like, oh, this part of this area, I've never been to this part before. I've never been to that part before. And I feel like it looks weird if you're just kind of like walking around or whatever during the day and not quite, if you're just like aimlessly wandering, it looks kind of weird. So it's like, oh, I'll wait at night till everybody's asleep, and then I'll take the chance to be like, oh, what's this path? What's this route? What's this walking trail? And that way I can register stuff and remember it. So that way when the daytime comes around, if, you know, Amanda actually has to sleep, it's like, hey, let's go check out this area. I just found it during my nightly stroll while you were asleep. And then number 1 is kind of like our conversation about Forks to Phoenix. I would drive more. I would actually like go, because it's tough to actually go places during the, like overnight. Like I can't fly overnight because there are no flights overnight, and I'm going to assume that I can't fly. I would drive more. I would probably drive to other states, other areas of the country, other areas of the world, take a ferry or whatever to places. But
did you know you can't drive to Europe, right?
Just you wait.
He's going to have the time to develop a way for it to happen.
I would use the daytime to fly over there. And then once I'm over there, then I'll drive. But I would feel less guilty about it because when you're driving, once you reach the end of your destination, after we take road trips like back home or 6-7 hours, I want to just rest, relax, turn my brain off. If I don't need to do that, that's the perfect time to do it. So yeah, use that opportunity to drive and explore and go to different areas. So yeah. Those would be the 4 things I would do if I never needed to sleep.
All right, good list. And if you were the undead, you could vroom vroom in your car real fast like Edward and not even care about anything.
In your Volvo.
All right, so 2 notes before I do my list. 1, I never want to live in a world where I don't need to sleep because I love sleeping so much.
But like you probably wouldn't miss it, right? Like I don't know, like
I don't know. I don't care if I would miss it or not. I just don't want to.
Because if you're saying like I would never get tired, like that's different than I would never sleep. Like if I'm tired but can't sleep, that would suck. But if I'm never tired, that's
Yeah, no, I hear you. And it would be nice to never be tired. But I do love sleeping.
Yeah.
Also, there is an episode of American Dad, if anyone likes American Dad, where this exact thing happens. The CIA develops a pill or something you can take and you don't need sleep anymore. And so Francine discovers like a long lost species of whales or something. I don't know. So my list, similarly to both of you, I kind of lumped them all together, but reading more, watching more TV, watching more movies. Agreed. It just doesn't ever feel like there's enough time in the day to do and see all the things that you want to do when it comes to consuming different types of entertainment media. So I would definitely do that. Number 3, I would try to learn how to do like a really interesting job, like kind of inspired by the American Dad episode, but like something similar to like a marine biologist or something that like it's one of those things when you're a little kid, you're like, yeah, I'm going to be a marine biologist. And then some people actually do that, but I feel like I would have all the time to like learn about all the details and the intricacies, and I could do that. Number 3 would be cooking, because I'm so bad at cooking. And so I feel like I could watch all the videos and I could just really perfect and learn the science behind cooking and how to just be a great chef. Now, if I'm a vampire, I can't eat any of it. So that is maybe not something I would want to do, but we didn't explicitly say we were vampires.
That's true. We just said you didn't need sleep. Yeah.
Right. Plus, hey, I'm still around. And listen, Edward's family cooked for Bella once.
Yeah.
And granted, she didn't eat it, but
They had to use their kitchen for the first time.
And also, just I wanna just step in here as someone who regularly eats Amanda's cooking. It's great. So don't put yourself down like that, Amanda. It's great.
Okay, well, I want to be like Carmy level.
Okay.
Chef.
Yes, chef. Yes,
I want
chef.
to just be able to like taste something and be like, needs more this or that, or like I'm gonna throw all these weird flavors together and it's gonna work and it's gonna be an incredible dish.
I almost put that on my list.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I could do it if I want. Let's be honest. Any of these things I could do if I really, really wanted to. But it would be much easier if I had more time to do them. So my number one is learning how to play and master more musical instruments.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I feel like I've always just wanted to learn how to do more, but again, there's like I hit a certain level and it's like if you don't make it up to the next level of like mastery of fully understanding like music in general, then like music theory, it's kind of like meh, whatever. But if I had all the time, I could master music theory and then I could be one of those people that could play all the instruments, just like your wife.
And some people I feel like these also sound like things people took up during quarantine. I remember there was a meme that was like, and now I understand as a parent of a toddler, but I didn't have a toddler during quarantine. And it was me talking to parents of a toddler about how I took up new hobby and learned how to bake bread and something. And it was a picture of Mel Gibson talking to like a bloodied Jesus from Passion of the Christ on the set of Passion of the Christ.
Oh my gosh. Geoff and I were just saying earlier, we're like, man, we really should have started podcasting during the pandemic because we would have had so much more time to do it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, but we were too busy getting drunk and having fun with each other on Zoom.
I watched so much TV. That is how I caught up on a lot of TV. Because I used to always say, I remember like back in like 2019, I would say like a phrase like, I just need TV to stop making new episodes for like 6 months so I can catch up. And then it happened and I didn't really catch up, but I did catch up to some extent.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our Twilight episode. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you'd like to watch along with us, next week we will be watching The Apartment. Have you seen it, Geoff?
I have not. I'm very familiar with director Billy Wilder's work, but I've yet to see The Apartment, so I'm excited.
All right. So another installment in none of us have seen it.
Hopefully this cracks the code of older movies that we all
they've been kind of bad for us, but hopefully this will break the curse.
You're not allowed to pick them anymore, Ben, if this one is another dud.
I can pick whatever I want, Amanda.
I mean, this is his podcast, I guess.
All right. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a rating or review and follow us on all our social channels. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
To infinity and beyond!
Why so serious?
I am serious. And don't call me Shook.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.